you, Sags. Good evening once again. And Fulham were 40, Millwall were 80 when they met at Craven Cottage back in November. But success in football owes so much to momentum. And both have ridden that wave of confidence the longer the season has gone on. However, the fact they've had to come from so far back means they have little margin for error, and they both have to win here tonight. Prolonging those long unbeaten runs with a stalemate only benefits the rivals, and both have come too far this season to meekly surrender the initiative now, which means we should be in for some game. Both sides are unchanged. A very useful point for for Millwall at Sheffield United last week. Steve Morrison with the late equaliser. Their side is Archer in goal, Romeo, Hutchinson, Cooper and Meredith, Wallace, Williams, Saville and Marshall, Gregory and Morrison. Only 5 changes in the last 13 games. Fulham, of course, had the opposite emotion, conceding an injury-time equaliser to draw at home to Brentford, although it must be said it was a fair result over the 90 minutes. Brentford should have had a penalty and also had a perfectly good goal disallowed. But Slaviša Jokanovic has said it's no time for crying, and he's gone with the same 11. Bettinelli in goal, Fredericks, Odoi, Ream and Target, McDonald, Kenny and Johansson, the trio who will be very tight in midfield. Piazon and Setinon in the wide areas. Mitrovic on loan from Newcastle with 10 goals this season. He will be the focal point. Our referee is Andre Mariner, and Ryan Mason, you could not wish for a better atmosphere and a better fixture 2 weeks before the end of the championship season.
Oh, this is brilliant. I mean, this is what football's all about. I mean, Friday night, 2 teams who need to win this game. This is a must win for both teams, and they're both full of confidence coming off the back of unbeaten runs, so this is going to be a proper game of football.
And the word pressure is overused in football, but I'll use it anyway. But who is under more pressure tonight?
Listen, Millwall, they're not expected to be in these playoffs, so they can go out there and give it a real go. I mean, Fulham have been knocking on the door. They've been touching distance to that Premier League, so I feel like the pressure is on Fulham to go and win this game.
Well, it's Fulham who will get the game off and underway in their white shirts, black shorts and white socks. Millwall in their dark blue shirts, white shorts and dark blue socks. Both teams have broken away from their pre-match huddles, and one of the championship games of the season is off and underway here and only here on TalkSport 2, the home of the EFL. And it's Fulham attacking the goal, the cold blow lane end of the Den away to our right-hand side in the first half. And McDonald comes away from an early challenge, plays it back towards Dennis Odoi, and now the captain Tom Kearney, and he was missed so much in the early part of the season when he was absent injured. But Kearney, McDonald and Johansson will be a midfield trio who will see plenty of the ball. They will shuttle it around very quickly and try and work the Millwall midfield. In contrast, they will try and get the ball forward very quickly towards Morrison and Gregory. And Bettinelli's first clearance on this near side, pressurised by Gregory, goes straight out of play over the head of Ryan Fredericks, and it will be a throw into Millwall on this near side there left. And we spoke about Jordan Archer before the game, the Millwall goalkeeper, somebody you know very well, and Ryan Fredericks also came through at Spurs.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time with both of them, and obviously Ryan's had to go out and forge a career for himself, and he's done a great job at Fulham. He's probably the best right back in the league.
Morrison now looking to build for Millwall on the edge of the penalty area, but just going in with a heavy challenge on Kevin McDonald, and it will be a free kick. Andre Mariner, as we said, our referee. 90 seconds played on TalkSport 2. The noise incessant inside the Den at the start of this game. Johansson changes the point of the Fulham attack with a long ball towards this near side from left to right, looking for Fredericks, but the ball just bobbles under his foot into the Millwall technical area, and it will be a throw-in to the home side. A reminder at the top of the table, Wolves will be the champions with a point tomorrow. They'll also be confirmed as the top side in this division if Cardiff don't win tomorrow night. They have 95 points. Cardiff in second, played 42. They have 83. Fulham at the start of play played 43. They have 82 points. Aston Villa already guaranteed a playoff place, played 43-79. Then it's Middlesbrough on 69 points, level on points with Millwall, who are currently in the final playoff position, a point clear of Derby County, who also have a game in hand, as Millwall look to bring it forward on the far side with Wallace. And he's strong enough to ride the challenge of Johansson. 2-8 in the centre, and the cross towards the near post area. Ricochets behind off Ream for a corner.
That's great play from Millwall. That's their game plan to a T, to sit off and press Fulham when they get the ball deep, and they've just countered. They've had a 3v2 there, and that's good signs from Millwall.
And Ben Marshall, on loan from Wolverhampton Wanderers, will take the corner. One of the few players who has come in during the season. He was signed in January, and in front of some very animated Millwall support on the far side. He takes the corner. It's an outswinger, high towards the far post, and the header is off the crossbar. Millwall inches away, and the second header comes in from Sean Williams, and it's saved by Bettinelli, but the first effort from Jake Cooper comes off the underside of the crossbar, and Millwall inches away from taking the lead.
What a massive moment for Millwall. Brilliant save from the keeper. Ball's got stood up at the far post, and he's coming in. He's headed it, it's going in, but what a brilliant save.
Fulham look to respond now with Johansson on the far side. Sessegnon is off and running, but it's infield towards Mitrovic, who holds the ball up. Now Kearney back towards Johansson again, and it's wide towards Fredericks, and that's surely handball on this near side by Meredith, the Australian, and it was spotted by the assistant referee, and it will be a free kick for Fulham, and they have not really got a foothold in this game yet with nearly 4 minutes played on TalkSport 2. How on earth did Meredith not get a yellow card there?
Oh, it's a blatant handball. It's deliberate as well. That's a blatant yellow, that.
Ream now brings it forward for Fulham, and already Millwall have every single dark blue shirt back behind the ball. Wide on the far side, and Matt Targett on loan from Southampton, and now Ream slips, and it's won back by Morrison. Quickly plays it infield towards Wallace, who bobs and weaves around one challenge, but then runs into Dennis Adoy. But all he can do is loft the ball out of play, and it will be a throw-in to Millwall on the far side. And we build this, Ryan, as a clash of styles, and at the moment Millwall right in Fulham's faces, and they are rattled.
Yeah, it really is. This is exactly what Millwall wanted. They're not giving Fulham any time on the ball. They're pressing them, and they're making it difficult for them.
And now there is a head injury on the far side, and it's Matt Targett who has gone down, and sensibly Andre Mariner has stopped play to see if the Southampton loanee requires some treatment, and it could be a quirk of the loan system that his parent club could be relegated this season, probably will be relegated after their performance at Leicester last night, and Targett himself could be promoted on loan at Fulham and may have a decision to make during the summer. But Andre Mariner will restart play here with a drop ball. He's having a word with the prematurely greying Steve Morrison, and they're just discussing over whether this should be a contested drop ball, and in the end it isn't, as Morrison hoofs it wide on the far side and out of play for a goal kick. 5 minutes played on TalkSport 2. It is Millwall 0, Fulham 0. Millwall 17 matches unbeaten. Their last defeat came at Norwich on New Year's Day. In that time they have moved from 16th to 6th in the Championship table, and Fulham, of course, a 21 match unbeaten run. They've not suffered defeat since December the 16th at all places Sunderland. 16 wins and 5 draws. They were 18 points behind Cardiff City at the start of their run. If they win tonight, they will go back above them into second place, and will be looking for a favour from Forest live on TalkSport 2 tomorrow night, as Sessegnon looks to dart into the penalty area down the left-hand side, but it's quickly cut out by Romeo, who tries to work the 1-2 with Wallace, but the ball just spins out of play, and it will be a Fulham throw-in on the far side. And at the moment, Ryan, how do Fulham get the likes of Sessegnon and Fredericks into the game?
Listen, they just need to get hold of the midfield. I mean, they've just played out from the back there. Millwall tried to press them and stop the keeper playing out, but they were brave. They played out, and that's what they need to do. They need to get a foothold in this game, because it's been all Millwall.
And there's just a word from Andre Mariner with a couple of players. It's no surprise that Alexander Mitrovic is one of those involved. He's always had a fairly short fuse throughout his career, and Sean Hutchinson is the other player, and I think Mitrovic against Hutchinson off the ball may be a confrontation worth watching here this evening, as Mitrovic now tries to chest it back towards Targett on the far side, but Jed Wallace will just chest the ball out of play, and it will be a throw-in to Fulham again, with 7 minutes played at the Den on TalkSport 2. Goalless so far in what could be a dress rehearsal for the playoffs, with Fulham currently third place and Millwall down in 6th. Here is Meredith on this near side, the Millwall left. And it's played in field towards George Saville, who has been such an important signing. It's back towards Archer. His long ball forward almost releases Gregory, but it's quickly picked up in the midfield area by Sean Williams, and it's wide to the far side. And Wallace again, the early cross takes a deflection off the back of Target, and Sessignon can bring the ball clear here. Boos for him from the Millwall supporters, and now Mitrovic is cleaned out by Wallace on the far side. Mitrovic has gone down fairly dramatically. For somebody of his size, he does tend to go down in a strong breeze at times, but it is a free kick to Fulham.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's got to be careful because he's a player that plays on the edge, and if he gets emotionally involved with this crowd, then it could be a tough evening for him.
Well, he had to get the move, Aleksandar Mitrovic. Of course, he has a World Cup dream to consider with Serbia, and Fulham was the ideal club for him to go to. Of course, Slaviša Kanovic is a fellow countryman, a former Serbian international as well, so he will understand what motivates Aleksandar Mitrovic, and it's 10 goals in 14 games, and there's a number of Newcastle fans may be wondering why he didn't show that sort of form either this season or last season down in the Championship, when he was also in and out of the Newcastle side, as Ream finds Target on the far side, and the ball just skips off the challenge of Marlon Romeo, and it will be a throw-in for Fulham midway inside the Millwall half, and it's into the path of Johansson. McDonald though is pressed very quickly by Williamson, and it's back towards the halfway line, and then the challenge comes in again.
That's brilliant pressure in the middle of the park from Saville and Williams. They're not giving them a second to get on the ball on players. That's brilliant midfield play that.
And they are a very fit side, Millwall. They will keep going at this pace for as long as they need to, and I'm sure they are picking up plenty of adrenaline from this home crowd at the moment. Over 17,000 here at the Den this evening, the biggest of the season and the biggest for some years. And the only area of the ground which is unoccupied is the lower tier of the stand away to our left-hand side. The Fulham fans are in the top tier. There are a couple of families and kids in a couple of rows beneath them, underneath the awning of that stand, but elsewhere around the Den it is very noisy, it is very full, and it is raucous as Fulham have a throw-in on the far side. And London derbies have really cost them recently. That home game against Brentford, and there was recently a 2-2 draw against Queen's Park Rangers when they were 2-0 up for a time in that game and conceded late on, and those 4 drop points could be very, very costly at the end of the season. It's a throw-in for Millwall on the far side, which Romeo will take as the light blinks on the top of Canary Wharf behind the stand on the far side. It's flicked on by Morrison, but it's cleared away by Odoi, and now it's delicately played forward by McDonald from the edge of the Fulham penalty area, but Romeo quickly plays it in field towards Sean Williams. The early diagonal ball into the penalty area, and the free kick has been given for a push by Gregory on Odoi, and it's a Fulham free kick.
Yeah, I mean, that's Fulham's game plan. Direct, a long throw to Morrison, win the flick on, and then win the second balls and don't let Fulham get out. I mean, we touched on it before the game about the pitch being dry, and I think Fulham are really struggling to get their football going at the moment.
Here is Kenny, wide to this near side, looking for Fredericks, but the pass never found it. It's brought forward on this near side by Ben Marshall, who comes in field, but then he runs into the combined challenge of Johansson and McDonald. Saville, though, with an excellent challenge, almost wins it back, and he does, because Romeo comes careering into a challenge. He was caught by McDonald, and it's a Millwall free kick, 15 yards inside the Fulham half, in a central area, and really, Fulham's approach epitomised by Marlon Romeo there.
Listen, Fulham need to start putting some tackles in, because in that middle of the park, Saville and Williams are really on top of them, and I mean that's exactly what Millwall want to do. Stop them playing, get on top of them, and put the pressure on early on.
And there are so many players in this Millwall team who have the hunger. As the free kick is played high towards the far post by Marshall, and overhit on this occasion. They've got the hunger because they've either been let go by a bigger club or they've come up through the lower divisions, and when you get a group of players like that and get them moving in the right direction, it really can be something.
Yeah, there's a real team spirit. You can see everyone, they're talking, they're organising, they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing on this football pitch, and it's an impressive start from Millwall.
12 minutes played on TalkSport 2. Don't forget, such a busy day tomorrow across the TalkSport network. Matchday Live with Ian Danta comes live from the Stadium of Light as the goal kick is taken by Bettinelli to Ream on the far side, and in the end it's Gregory who has been penalised. In fact, no, it's not Gregory who's been penalised. The ball didn't leave the penalty area.
That's clever. That's clever from Ream, because the keeper stitched him up there. He's played it around his throat and he's stepped in and stopped it going out the box to save him losing the ball.
I can never understand why that's not an indirect free kick to the other side, though.
I mean, it's a bizarre rule, isn't it, that one? I don't quite understand it.
Saville tries to play it forward on the far side, and it's out of play. Matchday Live tomorrow, live from the Stadium of Light. Both Sunderland and Burton could be relegated from the Championship. Our first commentary on TalkSport from the Premier League. West Brom going to Anfield at 12:30 with Dean Saunders and Adam Bridge. At 3 o'clock on TalkSport 2, it is Derby against Middlesbrough. What a game that is. Two sides striving to make it into the Championship playoff zone. At 5:15, Ryan will be alongside Sam Matterface at Wembley for the first FA Cup semi-final. Manchester United against Tottenham, and then myself and Sags will be with Mickey Gray from 7 o'clock here on TalkSport 2 at the Cardiff City Stadium. A 7:45 start on a Saturday night for Cardiff at home to Nottingham Forest. And at 10 on TalkSport we have exclusively live the Amir Khan fight with Adam Cattrall and the team. There's another aerial challenge on this near side involving McDonald and Gregory, but it's Millwall who come away with the ball. The busy Jed Wallace wide to the far side, and Marlon Romeo. Our early ball into the penalty area, looking for Morrison, and it's Fredericks who almost combines with Adoy to collide and get the ball away, but now the early ball played back in by Marshall. Not it back in the penalty area, and there is the opening goal, and it's hooked in by George Saville, and Fulham simply couldn't cope with the Millwall pressure, and the Lions are on top in this game. But has the goal been given? Well, Millwall are celebrating on the far side. Andre Mariner is talking to the Fulham players, and has he given the goal?
It looks like he's given a foul, Nige. I think he's disallowed it. I think he's given a free kick for climbing on top of the defender at the back, but I mean, if he has, it looked pretty soft to me. Yeah, he's definitely disallowed it.
Wow.
Definitely.
What a decision early on in the game.
Tell you what, that's a very brave decision, because there didn't look to be much in that.
It was hooked in by Saville. It was the earlier challenge, though, which knocked the ball down to him, but defensively Fulham were all over the place from the moment the original ball came in, and Adoy and Fredericks collided with each other and almost gave the ball away, but Fulham have had the benefit of a big decision there, and now they have a free kick at the other end. Morrison tangling with Mitrovic. And although they conceded an injury time last week against Brentford, early in the game Ollie Watkins had a perfectly good goal disallowed for offside, and Brentford should have had a penalty as well, and another big decision has gone in Fulham's favour there. And now Sessegnon finds Ream, and it's Target out on the left hand side for Fulham once again into the penalty area. Piazon, who we've barely mentioned so far, unable to link up with Mitrovic. The early ball is played forward from the back by Hutchinson, and it's quickly returned by Adoy and headed clear on this near side by Cooper. And the ground still buzzing here, because it took some time for players from both sides to realise that the goal had been disallowed.
I think everyone's a bit uncertain why it was disallowed, because the first look it didn't seem to be much in it. I mean, he's climbed on top of him, but it looked like he got a perfectly legal header on it. So yeah, the crowd ain't happy in here.
16 minutes played at the Den. Millwall 0, Fulham 0 on TalkSport 2, but Millwall have already hit the crossbar and had a goal controversially disallowed here. Apparently it was given a challenge on target by Wallace, and that was the free kick in the build-up to the goal, or the non-goal, as Fulham concede another free kick just inside the Fulham half, and it's Lee Gregory who was fouled, but there was chaos inside that penalty area there, and Fulham were all over the place, and I'm not too sure any challenge before the goal made too much of a difference, Ryan.
No, I mean my gut instinct was that it was a legal challenge. I mean they've won every first ball, they've won every second ball. Millwall have been brilliant here, and Fulham really need to get a grip on things.
Now Cooper rising again inside the penalty area, nodding it down across the 6-yard box, and Lee Gregory lunging in was inches away from making contact, and there is a Fulham player down now inside the penalty area, and I wonder if this is maybe almost a tactical injury to try and get the players around Jokanovic and sort a few things out.
Every long ball, Millwall have won the first one, every single one. I mean, it's clear their tactics are get the ball up there early and get people around them, and it's causing Fulham massive problems.
Well, it was Kevin McDonald who was down, and there's also a Millwall player down midway inside the Fulham half as well. And Andre Mariner has actually taken the ball up towards the halfway line here and is allowing treatment.
It looks like George Saville.
Yeah. Well, Saville, the player signed from Wolves, 10 goals this season from midfield, and they have directly contributed to 12 points for Millwall. They really struggled for goals at the start of the season, only 4 wins in the opening 19 games before their rapid rise up the table. And it shows that although he's a young manager, Neil Harris is learning quickly to pick up players like Saville and also Ben Marshall on loan from Wolves. You've got to look around clubs on the fringes and see who might be available and who can fit your system.
Yeah, I mean, he's got players in that are hungry to succeed, and George was a player at Chelsea. I played against him many times who obviously didn't make it there, but he's felt like he has a point to prove. And I mean, if he has to go off here, that would be a massive blow to Millwall, because he's been instrumental in the way they've been pressing and stopping Kearney playing this first 20 minutes.
An interesting character on the bench for Millwall, Tim Cahill, of course, back here 14 years after he last played for Millwall. Of course, he's had an eclectic career since with Everton, New York Red Bulls, spell in China, also at Melbourne as well in his native Australia, but he's come back to help at the age of 38. And he was a really good goal-scoring midfielder. I don't think David Moyes, pound for pound, has brought a better player in his career.
No, what a player. I mean, for the size of him, the amount of headed goals he scored was just incredible. And I think the gaffer's brought him back here to boost morale in the changing room, and he's a great character for that.
Well, he was part of the Millwall side who played in the FA Cup final. In fact, his last start for Millwall came against Manchester United at the Millennium Stadium. As Johansson has it now for Fulham, and it's a good ball wide to the far side, and Sessegnon, who has not really had the opportunity to get forward so far, but he's found target with a deep cross. Mitrovic with the header, but it was always off balance, and as a result it was always looping over the top.
That's great play from Fulham. That's what they need to do. They've got the big man up there who can hold the ball up, and it's the first time they've got a bit of quality into him, and he's held the ball up, he's brought others into play, and they got the ball wide and got a ball in the box.
Well, Ryan Sessegnon, he was the EFL Player of the Year in the Championship, the Young Player of the Year, and the Apprentice of the Year. I can't imagine anyone will ever do that ever again, but I saw him down in the tunnel before the match. He does seem incredibly grounded.
Yeah, I mean, he looks a level-headed lad, and the fact that he stayed here and learnt his trade here just goes to show the kind of guy he is.
Well, 14 goals this season, and it really was a masterstroke from Slavisa Jokanovic to push him forward from left back and give him a role as a midfield player, because he does have an eye for goal as well. Cooper now with the early ball forward again. Gregory on the chase. Adoy nods it wide to this near side in the right hand channel for Fulham, and Fredericks unable to keep the ball in play, and it will be a throw-in which James Meredith, another Australian, will take. 21 minutes played at the Den on TalkSport 2, part of our 500 games across the TalkSport network this season. More football than anybody else in this game, living up to the billing so far. Meredith with a long throw into the penalty area. Morrison challenges with Adoy. It's the Fulham man who clears, and now Kearney skips away initially from the challenge of Meredith, and then goes on the outside beyond Ben Marshall, and he wasn't too happy with the nature of the challenge there from Marshall, which dumped him on his pants, but the referee has eventually given a free kick to Fulham. And as you can hear from those around us in the main stand here, they're not too happy with that decision as Adoy works it wide to the far side, and Tim Ream. Ream will often look to bring the ball out of defence, and just for a change, Fulham drop off and are given the opportunity. Now Mitrovic, beaten to it in the air though by Sean Hutchinson, and Millwall quickly play it forward, looking for Gregory again. It was Wallace with the early pass down the right hand side. It's cut out by Ream, who then booms the ball off Wallace, and it will be a Fulham throw-in. And we've reached the midpoint of the first half, and I think Fulham, Ryan Mason, still grateful to be in it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they're lucky not to be behind. Millwall started great. Fulham just can't get out at the moment. Everything's in front of Millwall, and it's making it easy for them to press them and stop them playing.
Fredericks on this near side, the Fulham right, infield towards Piazon, on loan from Chelsea. And now Kenny will find Piazon once again, who has seen little of the ball so far, operating to the right of Mitrovic, but he's almost come in field to try and get some sort of service. Now Johansson finding Piazon again, who is in the number 10 position. He's given the room to turn, and he finds McDonald. The width is provided by Fredericks on this near side, the right, but there is very little opportunity for Fulham to get round the back at the moment and try and exploit the pace of either Fredericks or Sessegnon. Now Kearney will find Target. Sessegnon makes the run, but Target holds on to it, and it's back towards Kearney again on the edge of the penalty area. Mitrovic now is given the opportunity to spin and turn onto his right foot. His back here will find McDonald. An excellent pass to find Mitrovic down the left, across the face of goal. It's scrambled clear and eventually hooked away by Cooper on the penalty spot, and Fulham there inches away from taking the lead themselves.
Yeah, encouraging signs for Fulham. It's the first time they've had a bit of possession in Millwall's final third, and they've opened them up and created a really good opportunity.
23 minutes played, 0-0 at the Den. Johansson finding Kearney, and it's back towards the Belgian Dennis Adoy. And both Adoy and McDonald are finding it very difficult to work the ball around. Here is Piazon, and collectively you can say that for the whole Fulham side so far. Now Johansson. Sessegnon offers down the left-hand side, but it's infield towards Kearney, 25 yards from goal. Now wide to this near side, the right, and Fredericks, who is looking for support, and he has to cut square with the penalty area, and there's no real movement ahead of him. But here is McDonald now with a high diagonal ball in, looking for Sessegnon, and Romeo didn't really know where the Fulham players were, and his back header will loop around the far side for a throw-in by the corner flag, and it's a decent spell for Fulham at the moment.
Yeah, I think they'll be pleased with this. They needed this, a bit of possession in Millwall's half, and just to get the players on the ball and give them a bit of confidence, because they've not had a chance.
Saville, his clearance rebounds off Mitrovic, and it will be a goal kick. It's 0-0 here between Millwall and Fulham with 24 minutes played on TalkSport 2, and we've teamed up with Sky Sports to tell you about the dedicated Sky Sports football channel with more football from around the globe, including the EFL, SPFL, La Liga and more. Feel it all with Sky Sports. And Jordan Archer, who came through the Spurs Academy like Ryan, he clears long downfield for Millwall, looking for the head of Morrison, but it's cleared away by McDonald, and both McDonald and Kearney are having to drop almost in front of the Fulham back four at the moment to offer them support and a defensive shield as Sessegnon uses his hand to control the ball on the far side and concedes the free kick. And Fulham are at their best when that midfield trio are popping the ball around an opposition territory, but at the moment all they're thinking about is the defensive work.
Yeah, I mean, Millwall haven't given them a chance to breathe. This last couple of minutes has been the first spell where Kearney's got on the ball and started pulling a few strings, but apart from that, Millwall have been on top of them. Morrison
hooks a ball in from the right-hand side. Gregory was the target at the near post, but it's gathered by Bettinelli. He quickly clears downfield. Piazon will chase, and it's cushioned away down this near side neatly by Sean Williams. And he now has the opportunity to play it long, but it's a poor ball straight towards Adoy. And here is McDonald for Fulham. Infield from Johansson. Now Piazon. Mitrovic is able to roll the challenge from Hutchinson on the edge of the penalty area, but Romeo was supporting him. And Fulham will eventually pick up the ball, and again Gregory is penalised for handball, and it will be a free kick for Fulham. If you've just joined us on TalkSport 2, it's goalless with 26 minutes played, but already in the game Millwall have hit the crossbar and also had a goal controversially disallowed. Kearney now out on the left hand side for Fulham, infield towards Mitrovic, And just like last week at home to Brentford, they know they are really in the game here. Now Johansson, it's a good ball to pick up the run of Target, left-hand side, he was unmarked and he went for goal with players inside and he dragged the effort across the face of goal and behind.
Yeah, I think Millwall's back four switched off a little bit there and allowed the left back to get in a bit of space in the box, and that's worrying for Millwall because they've sort of sit off and allowed Fulham to have the play and sort of say break us down, and the last couple of moments they've sort of got in behind them.
Darkness has just about descended at the Den as a train rumbles between the two stands on the far side into London Bridge. It's still a very warm evening here, not quite as warm as it was at the King Power for the Leicester-Southampton game last night, but I'm glad to say this is a far better game, as Archer will take a goal kick for Millwall away to our right hand side. Long downfield, right-footed, there's a missed kick by McDonald, but he got away with it as Ream behind him was able to clear, but it's quickly won back by Meredith, who scampers forward as Marshall has it for Millwall down this near side, the left. Gregory makes the run towards the near post, and coming in at the far post was Morrison. It's lost by Bettinelli, and the shot from Wallace is cleared off the line by Ream, and Fulham escape again.
Oh, what a chance. The keeper's come out and fumbled it, and I don't know who it was at the back post, but he had an open goal and he didn't quite get a good connection on it, and the defenders come and blocked it.
It was Jed Wallace coming round the back, and you could see from here that was going to happen because Bettinelli was never favourite for that cross, and he was distracted by Morrison, and the ball almost bounces into the path of Gregory again inside the area, and there's some calm defending there from Piazon to nod it back towards his goalkeeper, but a free kick has been given to Fulham anyway inside the 18-yard box. But both Gregory and Morrison, neither of them are particularly subtle, but they're very effective.
No, they're putting themselves about, and Millwall are playing to their strengths. You know, Marshall's put a wicked ball in the box, and it's causing a lot of trouble for Fulham. They're struggling to deal with all the aerial balls that are being put onto them.
29 minutes played. Ryan Mason with us here on Talk Sport 2 this evening. Wonderful night for football in South East London. Adoy tries to dig the ball out on this near side, but every time a Fulham defender receives the ball, there are two Millwall players breathing down their necks, and Johansson, who's playing so deeply at the moment, almost gives the ball away to Morrison, but it's worked back towards Marcus Bettinelli, wearing all orange, defending the Fulham goal away to our left-hand side. Now Kenny, who always seems to play the game at a very languid pace, but he's been very effective for Fulham the longer the season has gone on. Adoy, infield again towards McDonald. Kenny's given the room to play the ball round the corner, back towards McDonald again. And Target is in space down the left-hand side. Wallace will have to try and get back to him, but the cross in towards that near-post area is gathered right on the goal line by Jordan Archer.
That's well dealt with by Jordan Archer there. That was a nasty one that just bounced right in front of him, but he done well to keep hold of that one.
Well, the stats coming into this game tell you just how these two sides play. Millwall have the lowest average possession in the division. Only Cardiff have made fewer successful passes and also have a lower passing accuracy. In contrast, Fulham have had more possession than anyone else this season, and the most successful passes and the shortest average passes, which tells you how they play, but it doesn't always win you a game. Now Fredericks down this near side, the right, bobbing and weaving away from a couple of challenges, finding Johansson, but he's quickly closed down, but he does find Mitrovic. Kearney on the edge of the penalty area. Target makes the run again. Kearney tries to play the ball inside beyond Wallace, but Wallace has now lost it. The Target shot inside the penalty area is blocked. Ream will regather the ball on the halfway line for Fulham, but they're just beginning to pick their passes around the Millwall penalty area. Fredericks again.
They're finding the space. It's a brilliant block from Hutchinson there.
Now Mitrovic just losing out on the edge of the penalty area, but his bulk and muscle allows the ball to run into the path of Johansson. Now Kearney finding Target again, level with the edge of the penalty area. A low driven ball into the penalty area, right across the 6-yard box. Cooper went for it. I think he was hoping Archer would gather, and they both left the ball for each other, and there was nobody there in a white shirt to capitalise.
Oh, what a brilliant delivery. That's the area you want to put it. That second 6-yard box where the defender and keeper don't want to go, and it's just gone all the way through. It's a brilliant delivery from Target there.
Straight into that corridor of uncertainty, and there was plenty of uncertainty inside the Millwall back four, and Fulham, due to balls in from that left-hand side, have now had a couple of decent opportunities after almost being blown away in the opening 20 minutes of this game. 31 minutes played, Mitrovic goes to ground under a challenge, but Andre Mariner just tells him to get up. Now McDonald finding Johansson, who was just buffeted there as he knocked it back by Williams, but the referee is happy for play to continue as both managers, suited and booted, Slavicia Kanovic to the left, Neil Harris to the right, two very different characters, but they are both seeing their sides on remarkable unbeaten runs here, but due to their slow starts to the season, they may not result in any tangible success at the end of the campaign. As Saville goes down, he seemed to be caught by Kearney, but Andre Mariner was right there, and again says no free kick, and he's doing his best to allow the game to flow here. And I think he is embracing the occasion, and he knows how much this game means to both these teams.
Yeah, I mean, this is a London derby, and I think the ref's doing a good job at the moment. He's allowing the game to flow. He's letting a lot go. So, I mean, the fans weren't happy about that one, but I think that was the right decision.
Cooper quickly closed down on this near side by Piazon, and it spins away off the Chelsea loanee out of play, and it will be a goal kick for Millwall away to our right hand side. Don't forget, two massive games on the Sunday exclusive coming up on TalkSport this weekend. Arsenal against West Ham, the start of Arsene Wenger's long farewell, only here on TalkSport. A 1:30 kick-off with Jim and the team from the Emirates Stadium, and at 2:45 on TalkSport 2 the coverage will start from Wembley of the second FA Cup semi-final, Chelsea against Southampton, and TalkSport will join that coverage at the conclusion of the Arsenal game, and the FA Cup semi-final will be available on both TalkSport and TalkSport 2 from around 3:20 on Sunday afternoon. Now Sessegnon looking to use his pace to get beyond Marlon Romeo, but he's done well to win the ball back, and now Millwall will try and clear themselves, and Romeo, the player from Antigua, has done really well so far, because very few defenders have found it easy against Ryan Sessegnon this season. As Bettinelli again not comfortable with the ball at his feet, he was closed down by Gregory and hoofs it straight out of play on this near side.
Brilliant pressure from Marshall, and it's got the crowd up again. It's they're not giving him a minute's rest at all there. This is brilliant tactics from Millwall.
Now Morrison on this near side, a high ball into the penalty area beyond Gregory, and it's good defending by Targett to just nudge it back towards Bettinelli with his head, and he bowls it out towards McDonald, and both McDonald and Johansson are almost on the toes of the back four at times, and as a result Fulham are finding it very difficult to get out.
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to get a foothold in the game, they're trying to get the midfield on the ball, but doing that they're having to go really deep, and they're basically playing as defenders at the moment. So Fulham need to get higher up the pitch, they need to stretch them in behind and create the space for the midfield to get on the ball.
Johansson now moving forward down the right hand side. Fredericks is steaming forward, but Marshall just blocks off his run with the shoulder and then wins the ball back, and Marshall was caught by Johansson as he cleared, but again players allowed to continue. Now Saville scoops it wide to this near side, and it's helped down the line on the Millwall right by Sean Williams. Infield again from Saville, it breaks back to him from Dennis Adoy. And now Sean Williams again, finding Meredith, the early ball into the channel, looking for the run of Wallace, who has now popped up on the left-hand side, and he's away from Adoy. Great ball into the penalty area. Morrison is onside, square looking for Gregory. It just needed to be a more subtle across, and Gregory would have scored, but the adrenaline was pumping there for Steve Morrison. Got far too much behind it, and it's a throw-in on the far side.
He's just lifted it. It just needed to be along the floor. It's a difficult ball. He didn't have much to aim at, but that's a massive chance for Millwall. Massive.
And it just shows you how deep Fulham are getting, that Morrison was onside so far inside the penalty area, but at times Fulham here are not playing the game the way they want to.
No, the two strikers movement, they're causing them real trouble at the back there for Fulham. They're winning all the headers, they're running in behind, and they're not giving the centre half a second breathing space.
And Steve Morrison, at the age of 34, he looked washed up earlier in his career. A couple of moves didn't work out for him, wasn't scoring goals, but now he's back home here, or something he considers home, and he could be in the Premier League next season, who knows, or certainly part of a Premier League squad if Millwall can keep things going. They really need to win this game, but they've got two huge ones coming up. They go to Middlesbrough, the side above them in the table currently, next weekend. That's the late game on Saturday, and they finish here at home to Aston Villa. So if they are going to make the playoffs, they will do it the hard way. Another high ball into the penalty area for Millwall, and it's Dennis Odoi with a back header beyond Bettinelli, behind for a corner kick. And it will be taken very quickly on this near side by Sean Williams, and every high ball in at the moment is causing real problems.
Yeah, they're definitely targeting it, Millwall. Every free kick, every throw in, they're sticking it in the box and making it difficult for Fulham.
And it's Williams who will take it. Every single Fulham player is back defending inside their own penalty area at the moment. They have no out ball whatsoever. Williams with the corner, left-footed, high to the far post. Bettinelli comes, doesn't get there, and gets the free kick again as Gregory shoots it towards goal. It comes off the crossbar, and Bettinelli headed into traffic, and I think he knew he was going to get the free kick there.
Yeah, he's paid on that. These keepers definitely get some protection, don't they? I mean, I don't think there was much in that, but the refs give it, and I think keepers always tend to get those ones.
Well, Bettinelli has looked very uncomfortable every time the ball has got into the penalty area. Of course, he missed one cross when Millwall almost took the lead, when Wallace had the shot cleared off the line by Ream. And with 7 minutes to play in the first half, I'm sure already Slaviša Jokanović would take a goalless scoreline at half-time and get them in the dressing room and maybe reorganise a few things. But here is Ream coming forward now, wide to the left-hand side and Target. Fulham trying to make the pitch as wide as they can, with Target down the left and Fredericks down the right. Sessegnon has seen very little of the ball in advanced areas so far. Now Piazon given the room to turn. Sessegnon was in space for a second, but Piazon didn't see him, but Johansson has swung a good ball wide to the left-hand side for Target, who held his run to stay onside. Now Kearney finding Johansson again, round the corner, looking for Sessegnon. It almost breaks to him on the edge of the penalty area, and then Mitrovic fouls Williams, throws his arms up theatrically. And there's always a whiff of sulphur whenever Aleksandar Mitrovic is near the ball, and he's been excellent for Fulham, but you always think he's got something in his locker that could cause them problems.
Yeah, I think he's one of those players, if you're playing against him, you probably try and wind him up, because he's definitely got a reaction in him. But having said that, since he's come to Fulham, he's been top draw for him.
Well, he scored an excellent goal last week, which almost won them the game against Brentford when it seemed they had run out of ideas. It wasn't quite enough in the end. Gregory now losing out to Ream, and the referee has seen an offside flag on the far side. Gregory coming back from an offside position to challenge for that ball. I think he was fouled by Ream right on the edge of the penalty area, but Fulham will get the free kick anyway as we tick towards the final 5 minutes of the first half here on TalkSport 2. It's still Millwall 0, Fulham 0 in the Championship. If it stays like this, Fulham would go back above Cardiff on goal difference, but Cardiff would have 2 games in hand. And we have them both for you on TalkSport 2 tomorrow night against Forest, and then on Tuesday night at Derby County. What a game that should be, because there was quite a lot of ill feeling following the original postponed game in the middle of March, when it was called off 3.5 hours before kick-off due to snow in Derby. But Neil Warnock, to say the least, wasn't convinced. Cooper now with a long diagonal ball forward for Millwall, up towards the edge of the penalty area, nodded down by Morrison. It's over the shoulder of Gregory, but he's controlled, and he's got support from Meredith on the outside to the left, but it's back towards Williams, high into the penalty area. Morrison headed across the face of goal, fisted away by Bettinelli, and he got the job done this time. And Bettinelli looks towards the assistant and says, where was the free kick? But if you're going to go into the crowd, that sort of thing's going to happen.
Yeah, definitely. Listen, Fulham are really struggling with any ball being put into the box. They've lost every first ball, and Morrison's winning absolutely everything.
Wallace has gathered the ball on the far side from a throw-in, so obviously couldn't be offside. Swung in by Morrison to the far post, and it was Marshall rising to try and head towards goal, but it would have been a very difficult skill from the left corner of the penalty area, backing away from goal to get the ball on target. So as a result, it drifts some way over the top. But Millwall finishing the first half strongly here with 3.5 minutes to play, but it's still 0-0 on a night when a draw doesn't really help either side, does it?
No, both teams need the 3 points. They both need them massively.
Bettinelli clears long downfield again. Piazon beaten to it in the air by Sean Hutchinson. And now Ream wide to the far side and Target. Here is Kearney now. And there's almost a lull in the atmosphere as we head towards half-time, and maybe that's because a couple of the Millwall fans are heading downstairs for a drink, but having said that, the volume has now turned up once again as Kearney plays it wide towards the far side, and McDonald, who was given the room to come forward, is allowed to run by Gregory, and here is Sessegnon back towards McDonald again, square to Johansson, 25 yards out, onto his left foot. It's a good ball back towards Sessegnon, who is onside, cuts it across the penalty area. It's cleared away initially by Hutchinson, back towards Sessegnon, but Sessegnon can't do anything with the rebound, and eventually is cleared away on the far side. And the Millwall fans around us were looking for the offside flag, but I think it was well read by Sessegnon.
Yeah, I mean, it looked to be good attacking play. The defenders from Millwall were appealing for offside, but I mean, you've got to play on until the whistle.
And all the danger from a Fulham point of view has come down that left, balls into the penalty area from Target and Sessegnon so far, but it's now lofted forward by Fredericks. Mitrovic does well to knock it down, and Sessegnon will think about a run forward, but he's quickly halted by Wallace, and it will be a throw-in. And there's real double coverage on Sessegnon. Whenever the ball goes anywhere near him, Wallace doubling back to support Romeo. But here is Sessegnon now in towards Mitrovic, but that was a bit loose from him, and now the long ball is played forward for Millwall, and Gregory will control, but he's forced wide by Odoi towards the left. He does have support from Marshall, and now Meredith sprinting forward as well, but Marshall swings the ball into the far post, and Bettinelli got nowhere near that. Morrison came in to head the ball towards goal, but it ricocheted off his shoulder over the top, and what on earth was Marcus Bettinelli doing?
What an unbelievable delivery from Marshall that was. Morrison, I think he should have scored. I really do. He's got in front of the keeper, but keeper's in no man's land yet again. The delivery that's going into the box is really causing Fulham some trouble.
Piazon goes down and has a Fulham free kick inside the centre circle. Now Kearney back towards Piazon again. Sessegnon is off and running. That was the ball to play, but the challenge quickly comes in from Saville, and Saville is now caught by Johansson, and it will be a free kick to Millwall. And it's 0-0 here on TalkSport 2 with our EFL charity partner Prostate Cancer UK. And as we head towards half-time, one man is dying of prostate cancer every 45 minutes in the UK. Help us to stop it. Donate £5 by texting TEAM to 70004, and Prostate Cancer UK will send you a badge as a thank you. Standard network charges also apply, and 100% of your donation will go to Prostate Cancer UK. The free kick from Archer is launched long downfield, and Fulham will clear away to the far side, but it's a throw-in which Marlon Romeo will take. One of the players who has forced his way into the side during this unbeaten run. There's 2 minutes of added time at the end of the first half, which we're into now. Romeo's cross into the penalty area goes a long way before it's hacked clear by Odoi. And now Kearney has it for Fulham. The early ball is played into an area which Sessegnon will chase into, but Cooper gets there first to clear the ball away, but it almost breaks back into the path of Sessegnon, and it's heads-up play by Archer to come outside the penalty area and clear the ball away on the far side for a throw into Fulham. And can they snatch something right at the end of the first half here? Kearney back towards Piazon, and it's not really been his sort of game so far, to say the least. Now Odoi back towards Ream. Fulham do have the pace of Naskins Kabanu on the bench. The early ball played in by Johansson, headed away by Cooper. But now McDonald will work it wide to this near side, and Fredericks. Piazon comes short, but Fredericks uses him as the decoy to come inside. Now McDonald's cross is blocked by Morrison, who was back there defending, and it's a throw into Fulham on this near side. And we have 30 seconds of normal time to play at the end of what has been a very good first half, and Millwall will leave the pitch believing they should be ahead in this game. Fredericks with the throw-in into the path of Johansson, and here is Kearney now And the ball to the left-hand side has found Targett in plenty of space, and his left-footed shot clips the top of the crossbar and goes away. And Fulham so close to a goal in the closing seconds of first half added time. Nobody picked up Targett, and he almost made them pay.
That's a great effort. Everyone's got sucked in thinking Tom Cairn is going to shoot, so all the defence have gone to him, and he's disguised the pass out to Targett, and it was a great effort from him from 25 yards.
Well, both sides have now hit the crossbar in the first half. Cooper with the early header for Millwall, and Targett there from long range for Fulham. Andre Mariner blows the half-time whistle, and the home crowd happy with what they've seen from their team. Millwall have been in the ascendancy for long spells. They've hit the crossbar, they've had a goal disallowed, but Fulham have had their moments, everything down the left. The pace and craft of Targett and Sessegnon, but at the moment, in a must-win game for both teams, Millwall look the more likely winners. At half-time, it is Millwall 0, Fulham 0. Thank you, Suggs. Yeah, we were pretty much asleep by this stage last night at the King Power Stadium, but it's been a very different game so far here tonight. Full of intention, full of drama. And it really just indicates how important this game is to both teams. A win for Millwall, and they will be 4 points clear of Derby County, having played 2 games more. And Derby have to go to Middlesbrough, or have Middlesbrough going to Pride Park tomorrow live on TalkSport 2, which is a massive game. And then Derby have to play Cardiff next Tuesday, which is also on the network as well, as Millwall get the second half underway in the dark blue shirts and white shorts, playing towards the Cold Blow Lane end of the Den to our right hand side. Fulham in their white shirts, black shorts and white socks. No changes to either side on what is still a very warm evening here in South East London. The trains are still trundling into South Bermondsey Station behind the stands on the far side, and we can now clearly see the lights twinkling at the top of Canary Wharf behind those stands as well, as Johansson brings it forward now and finds Mitrovic with a low shot which almost catches Archer out, and Sessegnon has scored! Ryan Sessegnon, the 17-year-old, with another twist in this remarkable promotion race in the EFL Championship. Archer spilling the shot from Mitrovic, and Sessegnon was there to pounce. The teenage rampage once again for Fulham, and they lead Millwall by a goal to 0.
I think Millwall was sleeping. Mitrovic has taken a pop shot from about 30 yards, and I didn't expect him to shoot, and I'm sure Millwall, the defenders and the keeper didn't, and he's parried it, and Sessegnon's been the first to react. It's brilliant forward play, because he's gambled, he's expected it, and then he's just slotted it through the keeper's legs as well, so that's exactly what Fulham needed.
That's a brilliant finish.
Oh, brilliant.
There. I mean,
he's got a little corridor to go for, and that's between the keeper's legs, and he's found it. It's a really clever finish from a young kid, that.
Wow. Ryan Sessegnon's 15th goal of the season. What will he be like when he grows up? And the 17-year-old with such a big goal in the promotion race. As it stands, Fulham are moving back into second place, 2 points clear of Cardiff, and the pressure would be back on Cardiff tomorrow at home to Forest, a 7:45 start on TalkSport 2 following the FA Cup semi-final at Wembley. And having been second best for much of the first half, Fulham have now stunned the Lions, but here is Romeo charging forward for Millwall into the penalty area down the right hand side, cuts back onto his left foot, and he's still going, but he runs out of room, runs out of ideas, and he looked like a defender there inside the opposition penalty area at the end.
Yeah, he had a little split second where he probably should have shot, and he dwelled on it, and the moment went.
Now Mitrovic causing problems again. Johansson breaking forward into the penalty area. Johansson is clean through. Oh, he drags the effort. He had Sessegnon clean through inside. All he needed to do was find Sessegnon, and it would have surely been 2-0. But Johansson with the rush of blood, and Millwall will be grateful for that.
It's a great opportunity, that. Fulham have come out with a different tempo. They're pressing, they're getting after Millwall, and they're stopping them playing, and that's come off the back of Johansson getting after the centre half. They had a ricochet, and he's gone through one-on-one with the keeper, and he definitely feel like he should have done better there.
3 minutes played in the second half. It's the Fulham fans who for the first time this evening find their voices, because they lead at the Den by a goal to nil. Ryan Sessegnon with his 15th goal of the season. Target now, forward again for Fulham. Mitrovic does well to control the ball on the chest and hook it wide to his right, and Piazon quickly on towards Fredericks, and he was just held up there by the pace of the ball from Piazon, and he had to invite the challenge from Marshall, and it's a Fulham throwing on the far side. A reminder of the two sides once again. Millwall, Archer in goal, Romeo Hutchinson, Cooper and Meredith, Wallace, Williams, Saville and Marshall, Gregory and Morrison. As Millwall knock an early ball forward now, looking for Gregory, headed back by Ream towards his goalkeeper Bettinelli. Behind Fredericks, Adoy, Ream and Target, McDonald, Kearney and Johansson in midfield, Piazon and Sessegnon supporting Mitrovic. And whatever Neil Harris said at half-time is torn up within 40 seconds.
Yeah, Fulham have really come out of the blocks, but Millwall will be disappointed with that. It's a sloppy goal to give away so early on in the second half.
49 minutes played on TalkSport 2, Millwall 0, Fulham 1, and it's Johansson coming forward again now on this near side, just held up by the challenge which comes in from Marshall, but Fulham now are knocking the ball around with so much more authority. Kenny pulling the strings wide towards Target down the left hand side. Sessegnon with a burst into the penalty area down the middle, but the ball never found him. It's quickly cut out by Williams, but Fulham have it back again. Piazon given the room to move forward now. Piazon with the shot. Well, he tried to shape it in right-footed, and it bobbled away towards the far post, and he had both Mitrovic and Sessegnon ahead of him.
Yeah, Fulham look to have settled now. They're really getting on the ball in midfield, and they're finding those spaces, those little pockets in behind the Millwall's two centre mids, and it's worrying for Millwall. They really need to stop the midfield free playing, because that's where they had all their success in the first half.
Well, whatever Slaviša Kanovic said at half-time, it has certainly worked. Sessegnon down the line for Mitrovic on this near side. The challenge comes in from Romeo, and Mitrovic goes down as if he's been shot, twitching his left Achilles, but really Romeo got the ball and caught very little of Mitrovic, if anything at all.
He's a big lad to be going down that, isn't he?
It is. He goes down again. He doesn't really punch his weight in those sort of situations, as Johansson swings a good ball wide to the far side, the right, and Fredericks moving forward now. Piazon waits in the centre circle. Fredericks is away from one challenge. High cross to the far post. Sessegnon was the target. The ball now holds up on the turf, and Wallace, hemmed in by Sessegnon, has to clear the ball down the line on this near side. Flicked on by Morrison, looking for Gregory. Back towards Morrison again, who tries to play the ball in field. It strikes the body of Callas. Millwall appeal for handball, but it's back towards Bettinelli once again. And the pace of the game is unrelenting at the moment, and it's really been helped by the goal for Fulham. 6.5 minutes played in the second half on TalkSport 2, the home of the EFL. More football on the TalkSport network than anybody else this season. More than 500 games, culminating in the World Cup in Russia at the end of the season. Adoy. Fredericks providing the width down the right-hand side, but he comes in field towards the left and finds Johansson. And now Piazon back towards Johansson again. Sessegnon just for a moment had space inside the penalty area, and now it's forward towards Mitrovic, who is allowed to turn down the right. He needs support. He plays it back towards the edge of the penalty area, and it's squared towards Kearney. Left foot shot from him was always swinging away from goal, the outside of the left foot, and it's a goal kick.
Yeah, it's good play from Fulham that. They're threatening him behind, and the midfield players are looking to pass the ball forward now, so it's creating a lot more problems for Millwall, because in the first half everything was in front of them, everyone was coming to feet, and you've just seen there Mitrovic has got him behind, and it's added a different dimension.
52.5 minutes played. Incessant noise inside the Den on TalkSport 2. Millwall 0, Fulham 1. And even if Millwall do lose this game, really the big game for them is next week at the Riverside Stadium against Middlesbrough. That really would be winner takes all for either side for 6th place. And it's Fulham coming forward again now. Kearney has Sessegnon in support down the left. Now Sessegnon has to check back square of the penalty area and find Johansson. A rather audacious ball from him with the outside of the left foot. It was a poor ball, and it's gathered by Meredith down the Millwall left. he can bring the ball forward, and he's got support from Ben Marshall. Marshall comes in field, swings a high diagonal looking for Morrison on the edge of the penalty area, but Callas, or rather Ream, judged it well, and Sessegnon works it wide to this near side and Target. Infield towards Kenny again. It's a rather loose ball from him, but Fredericks will make something of it. Bobson weaves away from one challenge, and now it's infield towards Piazon inside the centre circle. Fulham now playing with so much more confidence. What a ball from McDonald. Here is Sessegnon in space. Down the left-hand side, he's strong enough to rob the challenge of Wallace and tries to shoot for the near post, and it took a deflection, and it's almost wrong-footed, Archer, but he's able to gather.
There's so much space appearing. The game's got really stretched this first 10 minutes of the second half, and that's definitely favouring Fulham.
Well, Fulham have had so many big away wins this season at Cardiff, Middlesbrough, Derby and Preston. A number of late goals as well, but if they can emerge from here with a victory tonight, I know the next game's always the biggest game, but this really would be a significant statement of intent against a side unbeaten in their previous 17 games. And of course Millwall, as Ryan said, have to chase the game now, and that will suit the way Fulham play on the counter-attack. Kenny, no one's got near him in a dark blue shirt so far in the second half. Now Fredericks, infield towards Piazon, and Fredericks continues to run. It was a great ball knocked across the penalty area, but there was nobody there.
No, there's no one there. It's brilliant play down the right. The spaces are really starting to appear. They're getting in. They're really getting in behind Millwall, and you look at them now, they're so stretched. There's so much space in the middle of the park.
And it's given away by Millwall again. Their more prosaic style of play is not finding too much favour at the moment. McDonald. Ashley Hansen is the option, but it's further wide to this near side, the left, and Target. Sessegnon lurking with intent on the edge of the penalty area. Now McDonald with a shot! Oh, what a goal! Kevin McDonald with a screamer from 25 yards. Archer never saw it, and Fulham have taken a vice-like grip on this game, and they are heading back to second in the table, and the pressure is now squarely on the shoulders of Cardiff City tomorrow night. Millwall 0, Fulham 2.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. What a finish. He's cut in from the left-hand side. He's took on Jules Saville with a brilliant first touch to start with, and he's cut in from about 25 yards. He's whipped it in the top corner. It's an ideal start for Fulham in this second half.
Only his third goal of the season, Kevin McDonald, the former Wolves man, but they have just stepped up right from the start of the second half, right from the moment Mitrovic took the effort early, and Millwall just have not responded.
No, they haven't. The game's stretched. That first goal so early on in the second half is killed Millwall. They're disorganised. They're all over the place. There's so many spaces, and Fulham have took full advantage of that.
And it's the 1,500 Fulham fans all on their feet in the top tier of the stand away to our left-hand side. The Millwall fans tried to respond, but their team have had no response here whatsoever. Kevin McDonald with a screaming goal to make it 2-0. And have Millwall got any sort of response? There's a Doy, hooks it long downfield. Mitrovic will back into his marker, Hutchinson. And now it's Meredith who hooks it forward. He was caught late by Kearney, and the flag's up against Morrison. I thought for a second that the referee may have gone back there and given the free kick for the early challenge by Kearney, but the free kick has gone to Fulham. I was going to ask you during a lull in play, but there's never a lull in play, Ryan. The way Sessegnon finished that goal and the way he's played, do you think he's England quality?
Listen, there's definite potential there. I mean, the amount of goals he's scored for such a young kid, and that goal there that he scored, it's very difficult to teach that. It's an understanding of the game, and he's in a position which sort of, you take a gamble, you take a risk, and he's willing to take that. He's running the right position, and the ball fell for him. And not only that, the way he finished the ball was so calm for a young kid. It's great to see.
Now Millwall looking to find a goal back. If they can score pretty quickly, there's a long time to go in this game. 57 minutes played. Millwall 0, Fulham 2, and Millwall's 17-match unbeaten run is now in real peril. As for Fulham, they are heading for 22 matches without defeat since that loss at Sunderland on the 16th of December. And only 3 teams in the history of the Football League have gone 20 or more games unbeaten in the second tier and not finished in the top 2. Brighton did it a couple of years ago when they were hauled back by Middlesbrough right at the end. Preston and Blackburn are the other 2 previously in the past. And Jordan Archer, who will look back in his role in the first goal, spilling the shot from Mitrovic, now clears it long downfield, appeals for handball on the edge of the penalty area as Gregory saw his ball infield blocked by Ream, and the arms did seem to be up there, but Andre Mariner has only given Millwall a throw-in. Now Marshall, spinning infield from the left-hand side, wide towards the far side again, and Williams. Fulham have Millwall exactly where they want them. And Millwall have to try and start this move again with Hutchinson in the centre circle. Sways away from the challenge of Johansson. Tries to pick out Morrison on the far side, but it will go further on towards Marshall. What can he produce now from the wide area? It's a high cross in towards the penalty area. Gregory was challenging for it, but it's nodded away towards this near side by Targett. Now Hutchinson once again. The high diagonal ball which we've seen so often. Morrison was the target, but it's nodded clear by Adoy on the edge of the penalty area. Kearney with a long up and under, and he says to Johansson, go and chase that. Archer comes outside his penalty area, judges it well, and just booms it straight back down the centre. Volley cleared by Ream. Now Kearney, he was caught late by Williams, but he's strong enough to ride that challenge. Then looks for the free kick, but nothing's been given. Andre Mariner said, look, you wanted to get on with it, so I allowed you to, and it's a throw into Fulham on the far side. He's let a lot go, Andre Mariner, hasn't he?
He has. He's
been showing yellow cards like confetti, I think, in the Premier League.
I think he's just given the free kick. He's gone back and given it, but all game they've tried to get after Kearney and stop him playing, but he's starting to pull the strings now, and the midfield three look tired for Millwall.
McDonald is over the free kick, short towards Kearney, and now we're seeing that midfield trio take up their usual positions, be a really tight triangle, and just shuttle the ball between them and try and probe for openings. In the first half they were so deep they barely saw the ball at times. Meredith now on the far side for Millwall, back towards Cooper. His early header which came back off the underside of the crossbar. Now looks to have been a big chance missed by Millwall as Gregory is caught offside, and it will be a free kick for Fulham. 61 minutes played on TalkSport 2. Millwall 0, Fulham 2. Early goals in the second half from Ryan Sessegnon and Kevin McDonald. Don't forget tomorrow, Matchday Live on TalkSport, live from the Stadium of Light. Both Burton and Sunderland could be relegated there tomorrow. Ian Dante will have all the goals as they go in. A commentary at 12:30 on TalkSport from the Premier League. That's Liverpool against West Brom as Mitrovic is caught by Hutchinson, and Hutchinson will be shown the yellow card this time. I think Mitrovic stayed down long enough to make sure he did.
Yeah, rightly so. He's come right through the back of him now. I think that's a definite yellow card, that one.
And Mitrovic just making the point towards the referee. We've also got the FA Cup semi-final on TalkSport tomorrow at 5:15 with Ryan and Sam Matterface live from Wembley. Here on 2, the 3 o'clock commentary. What a game. Derby against Middlesbrough. Then at 7:45, Sags, myself and Mickey Gray will be down in South Wales for Cardiff against Forest. The next instalment of this fascinating battle to reach the Premier League via automatic promotion. And on 10 o'clock on TalkSport, we will have the Amir Khan fight. Only here on the TalkSport network. Target infield towards Sessegnon, down the left-hand side for Fulham. Now Johansson once again, and they are moving the ball around at their own pace now, Fulham. Target square towards Mitrovic, 30 yards from goal. He was opening up for the shot. He plays it into the path of Piazon. It breaks to Sessegnon with a low effort, and this time it's a good save by Archer.
Yeah, it's a good save there. Nice little roll turn by Sessegnon. He's got a good shot off on target, but keeper done well there.
Now Millwall will try and build themselves, but Romeo has Mitrovic all over him. Mitrovic scrags him back by the shirt. And And Andre Mariner just gives the free kick. On another day, in another league, that would have been a yellow card.
Yeah, it's a deliberate foul that. But what he's doing well in this half is he's stopping the Millwall centre-halves, putting quality into the strikers. He's making them rush their balls, so the quality isn't quite there, so it's definitely making it easier for the Fulham back four to win the first header.
I wonder if a few words were said in Serbo-Croat between the manager and striker at half-time, because he wasn't doing that in the first half.
It definitely looks like it.
Sessegnon clears away for Fulham on this near side, controlled by Marlon Romeo. And now Williams back towards Cooper. The long ball pumped forward for Millwall again, nodded down intelligently by Morrison to pick out Romeo, who works a 1-2 with Wallace, and Romeo will try and get in behind Sessegnon down the Millwall right hand side. Wallace hooks across into the penalty area, but it's overhit, way overhit. And at the moment Millwall, although Neil Harris is clapping his hands to appreciate the effort, they look like a side who have run out of ideas here.
Yeah, there's a little bit of frustration from the players creeping in as well, which they need to be careful of, because they're still in the game. The next goal's massive, and it looks like the gaffer's making a sub now, Nige.
Yeah, and it's Tom Elliott who will be coming on, and it's Ben Marshall who will be withdrawn. And Tom Elliott usually plays when Steve Morrison is not fit enough to play. He's been at the usual change in the last 13 games. Elliott, of course, was signed from the lower leagues, had a good spell at AFC Wimbledon, came through the academy at Leeds United, and he's contributed 6 goals, and it is going to be a very physical trio now up front, with Elliott, Morrison and Gregory all involved for Millwall.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to play at the tip of the diamond. I think they've changed a bit of formation here. Instead of playing a out-and-out 4-4-2, looks like they're going forward diamond 2 to accommodate for the 3 strikers.
Adoy now finding Piazon, back towards McDonald, who just has to check, and he's pressurised by Saville. The back pass goes into Bettinelli, and eventually it is cleared downfield by Morrison up towards the halfway line. And now Kearney for Fulham pirouettes and spins away from one challenge, back towards McDonald with a long ball forward. Romeo heads it clear, and then Saville with the up and under. Elliott flicks on, Morrison will chase, but Ream always had the beating of him there, and he's done well to chest the ball down and quickly find Target, who's got space to roam down the left hand side. Infield towards Sessegnon, hooks it forward towards the edge of the penalty area. Piazon tries to head the ball in field, and eventually it is just clubbed away down this near side by Millwall. The sort of clearance that Fulham are making in the first half, and it's a throw-in for Jukanovic's side, who lead here on TalkSport 2 by 2-0 with 66 minutes played. This would be such an important victory. And of course, for so long last Saturday, Fulham looked to be in the ascendancy, with Cardiff drawing 0-0 at Norwich, and then Cardiff scored twice in the final 4 minutes, and Fulham went out and gave away 2 points in injury time against Brentford. They will hope the roles will be reversed this weekend. Promising run forward now by Fredericks towards the edge of the penalty area. He finds Sessegnon, who trips over the ball on this occasion, and Saville will just waft it clear, but he only finds McDonald. But Morrison, coming back to win the ball back for Millwall, almost sells his central defender Hutchinson short. Sessegnon was all over him, but now it's cleared downfield up towards the halfway line. Elliott's done well to control, and it's a good ball for him to pick out Morrison down the Millwall right. McDonald has drawn out to the centre to make the challenge, and it's a throw into Millwall by the corner flag on this near side there right.
Yeah, that's what Millwall are looking for. A bit of quality into the striker to bring the other boys into play, because in this second half the Fulham front 3 and midfield 3 have made it very difficult for them to put any quality up to them.
Saville plays the 1-2 with Romeo, and it's a high hanging cross in from him, which hangs too high, and it's gone beyond everybody and out of play for a goal kick. And you talk about the change in formation for Millwall. We know why they've done it, Ryan, but how could that make them vulnerable from Fulham's point of view?
Listen, there's so much space. There's so much space in the wide areas and in the midfield, because the midfield trio of Saville and Williams have been playing tight together all game and really trying to press. But I look at them now, and you've got Saville just pressing the left back, and Williams is exposed on his own in the middle of the park. So there's so much space for Fulham to play now.
And they have a free kick 15 yards inside their own half. Johansson fouled by Sean Williams, and there are a couple of Fulham subs beginning to warm up. The usual sub at this stage Jukanovic has been making recently has been Cabano, when he's been fit, for Piazon. And Floyd Aite is a player who is unavailable at the moment due to injury, as Kearney tries to burst down the left-hand side, but there's a fine sliding challenge from Williams to rob him at the expense of a Fulham throw-in midway inside the Millwall half. 68 minutes played at the New Den. It's been an outstanding atmosphere generated by the home crowd, but at the moment their team have not been good enough. Didn't take their chances in the first half and now find themselves 2 goals down in the second. Target with a high ball across the penalty area. Mitrovic went for the audacious volley, leaning back right-footed, never really got hold of it, and it bobbles across the penalty area behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, difficult skill that one. The ball coming across your body in the air as well. He shows his confidence to even take it on, to be honest.
He's never lacked confidence, Aleksandar Mitrovic, wherever he's played. And now he chases another long ball forward, and he leaves Williams on the ground, and it's been a really good challenge. Hutchinson, the player who actually fell to the earth. And Mitrovic, when he's heading towards goal, does not shirk a physical challenge, but he can be a bit more delicate further back. Now Kearney. He's got Sessegnon in so much space, onside, down the left-hand side. What can the 17-year-old do this time? It's a high cross towards the far post, headed away by Romeo. McDonald heads it forward again towards Mitrovic. An intelligent header from him. Square, wide towards the far side, and Piazon now, who can find Fredericks on the overlap down the right. Early ball into the penalty area. Mitrovic heads it down into the 6-yard box. It's cleared. A challenge then comes in from Piazon to try and win it back, and Millwall will eventually clear, but Morrison loses out to Ream, and Ream sprinting forward down this near side, and he's cleaned out Romeo. A very unnecessary challenge by the corner flag, and the American receives a yellow card.
Yeah, it was late. It was a late tackle. They've both run at the ball from about 30 yards away, and he's just sneaked in front of him, so it's a definite yellow, that.
The adrenaline was pumping there.
Yeah, I think so. It's right in front of the away fans as well, so he's got a bit carried away there.
Well, Neil Harris looks like somebody who would love to rip off the suit and stick the number 9 shirt back on inside the Millwall technical area. But he's watching his side, having to defend again here. Sessegnon's long ball forward. Mitrovic could be in behind Hutchinson, and again he went for the spectacular, a dipping volley from 35 yards, but he got right underneath it, and it's some way over the crossbar.
It was there for him. Archer was off his line. Ball was bouncing. It's just the execution wasn't there. But listen, Fulham are going a lot more direct in this second half, and they're getting a lot of joy from it because they're getting quality into Mitrovic and it's bringing others into play.
And in the first half of the season, they simply couldn't do that because attacking-wise, they were very, very lightweight, as Elliott is flagged offside, coming back from an active area. Definitely
looks to be the missing link for Fulham. The last couple of years, they've been flirting with promotion, and they've just been lacking a goal scorer that can get them over the line. And Mitrovic has definitely got the qualities there to score goals at crucial times.
Because they've got Rui Font, but he's not really the sort of striker who enjoys the rough and tumble of the Championship, and players like Aite and Cabano will make a contribution, but not a decisive one, will they?
No, that's why I was a bit surprised Fulham didn't go a bit more direct in the first half, because they was under so much pressure and they really struggled to get out, but they kept trying to play, and Mitrovic was non-existent. But this second half they've gone direct, they played the ball to him, and they played the second half in Millwall's half.
Kearney goes down again looking for a free kick, but doesn't get one this time, as he's dumped on his pants by Romeo, and it will be a throw-in for Millwall with 18 minutes to play now at the Den on TalkSport 2. Millwall 0, Fulham 2. Ryan Sessegnon and Kevin McDonald with goals in the opening 7 minutes of the second half. And if it's going to be a revival here for Millwall, it is going to happen pretty late. We have seen so many late goals in London derbies in the Championship this season. Fulham had to hang on in 10 minutes of added time at Queen's Park Rangers in the early weeks, and of course Romeo's long throw into the penalty area is hooked clear and then fired back through the crowd by Sean Williams, and it's a comfortable save for Bettinelli.
Yeah, it was a great effort on the half volley from 25 yards, but he caught it too clean. He went straight to the keeper, but It's the first time in the second half that Millwall have got a throw in and they put the ball in the box and something's happened from it because they're winning the first ball.
In the London derbies this season, of course, on TalkSport we heard Brentford cough up 2 goals in added time at Queen's Park Rangers to give away a victory. And QPR then came from 2 goals down again at Fulham before the drama last week when Brentford scored in the 95th minute at Craven Cottage to earn a draw there. Mitrovic, excellent ball from him, heads up play to find Fredericks down the right hand side. There is so much room out there now. Fredericks using his pace beyond Meredith, and the crossing, was it deflected behind for a corner off the Australian? It was. And if there are to be more goals in this game, Ryan, Fulham look the more likely goal scorers.
Yeah, it looks like it's the only team scoring in the second half. They've been absolutely brilliant. The tactical switch of getting the ball forward a little more, pressing the back 4 of Millwall, and they've been brilliant in this second half and fully deserved their 2-0 lead.
Fulham's next game at home to Sunderland next Friday, and we'll also have that for you on TalkSport 2. Sunderland, of course, playing to stay alive tomorrow at home to Burton, but they could be relegated at Fulham next week as the short corner is worked for Fulham. Kenny inside the penalty area, wasn't really aware of what was around him there, and the ball eventually bobbles out of play, and it will be a goal kick. The big games tomorrow, of course, Cardiff at home to Forest at 7:45, live on TalkSport 2. Aston Villa away to Ipswich. Middlesbrough, they go to Derby, that's also live on TalkSport 2 at 3 o'clock. And then Millwall go to Middlesbrough next Saturday. What a game that should be. And that really will be win or bust for Millwall if they lose this one. Ream, good ball forward into the centre circle for Kearney, and the white shirts continue to dance around here and pick up the pockets of room. You can hear the olays from the Fulham supporters. That will annoy the home fans even more. Adoy slides it into the path of Mitrovic, a back heel to find Piazon, another back heel, and here is Kearney now, and there's room down the left hand side for Sessignon. He's got Target in support on the edge of the penalty area, infield towards Kearney again, now square towards Piazon, right foot shot from him, and the finish did not match the artistry of a brilliant move.
Yeah, brilliant. They're confident, the players are confident, there's space opening up, and they're really knocking the ball about now. I mean, Neil Harris he's took a gamble, he's gone 3 players up top, which he has to do. He can't sit off. He's been brave, but it's not paying off at the moment.
And Millwall now going back to the future. Tim Cahill is coming on, 38 years of age. This is 10th appearance as a sub since returning to the club in January. James Meredith will come off, so one Australian replaces another. His last goal for Millwall came in the FA Cup semi-final against Sunderland at Old Trafford back in 2004. It was the winning goal, the only goal, and they really need one from him now. They've got so many forward players on the field now, Millwall. They have to go for it. Cahill wins the header. It's into the path of Gregory, who goes down on the edge of the penalty area, caught by McDonald, and it's a free kick to Millwall. 13 and a half minutes to play, and a goal for them now would give us a big finish here at the Den on TalkSport 2. Cahill, one thing you can guarantee, even at 38, he'll still have the energy.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely sparked a bit of a reaction from the fans. They've got excited because they can see he's come on, he's full of beans, and they just need to get the ball up there. They need to get the ball up there and win some seconds and make things happen.
Sean Williams is over the free kick. It's about 30 yards out, fairly central. It's drifted in towards Elliott, nodded away though unchallenged by Ream. And now Kearney just launches it long into the Fulham half, across the field like a rugby player almost kicking for touch, and he finds touch, and it will be a Millwall throw-in midway inside their own half.
Yeah, it's a good decision that. It's a bit of game management there because there was no one up there, and he's just slowed the game down, and he's put the ball in Millwall's half.
Well, Neil Harris was calling for a cauldron of noise this evening. He's got that, but he's not had the performance, and Millwall will believe that luck was against them in the first half when Cooper's header came back off the underside of the crossbar, and they had a goal disallowed and another shot cleared off the line. Kearney Just clears it straight into touch again on the far side as Fulham tried to see this game out with 12 minutes to play, leading here by 2-0 on TalkSport 2. The start of a huge weekend of football, both FA Cup semi-finals on TalkSport, along with Liverpool against West Bromwich Albion at 12:30 tomorrow. And Derby against Middlesbrough coming up at 3 o'clock as Elliott with a burst into the penalty area. Ream finds his goalkeeper Bettinelli, and as Gregory lunges in, he just hooks it out to play on the far side for a throw-in. Taken quickly by Saville. Heading towards the corner flag is Wallace, back towards Saville again, who sets himself for the cross. Adoy at the near post will head away as far as Gregory, who controls on the edge of the penalty area. A couple of Millwall players almost get themselves in a tangle, but Romeo finds Morrison, who hooks it across the face of goal, and in the end I think it was a cross-come shot, and all Gregory could do was launch it up in the air at the far post and behind for a goal kick.
Better from Millwall. They've got the numbers in the box, they're making things happening, and that's what they need to do. They need to put it in there and really put that back four of Fulham under some pressure.
And Bettinelli is encouraged, to put it mildly, by the Millwall fans to take the goal kick away to our right hand side, and he eventually obliges, right footed. It's a very good ball as well to find Piazon. Kearney is steaming forward down the right, but the pass was behind him. Williams will step in, but Mitrovic has done well to win it back, and Mitrovic now is bearing down on goal up towards the edge of the penalty area, but never quite got his feet in order. Extravagantly falls to the turf, arms flailing, doesn't get the free kick, and Millwall will try and build, and the early ball is played forward now, looking for the run of Wallace, and Ream again judged it well, and Tim Ream has had a fine game at the heart of the Fulham defence, and he's been a key man for them at the back recently. Target now with a ball from left to right to find Fredericks into the final 10 minutes on TalkSport 2. Fulham leading Millwall here by 2-0. And they will be heading back to second place, and Cardiff will now have to get a result tomorrow. Had Fulham lost this game, Cardiff potentially could have been promoted on Tuesday evening at Derby County, but that won't happen now. Fredericks down this Fulham right hand side, then chases a long ball forward which is headed away only as far as Piazon. Kearney finding Fredericks again, it's flicked inside, and Kearney has gone down clutching his face, but nothing is being given. Elliott from the clearance for Millwall holds it on the far side. Now Johansson wins it back for Fulham, and the challengers are careering in here. Wallace steps in on Johansson. Johansson didn't appreciate the challenge, and players from both sides begin to converge, and Andre Mariner will just have to sort things out.
Yeah, just getting a bit scrappy in there. It's a couple of yellow cards being shown, I think, but listen, there's nothing wrong with that. Both players want it. Both players are giving it their all. It's been a fantastic tempo to this game, and we're approaching the last 10 minutes, and both sets of players are still going full throttle.
And there is going to be a change, and it is Piazon who is coming off, but it's Thomas Callas who will be coming on for Fulham. One of the 14,000 players out on loan from Chelsea this season, the Czech international, in his second season at Craven Cottage, and it's a defensive change as well. And Piazon, it's fair to say, is milking it, but he's had a decent second half. You can see why he was in the team in the second half. In the first half, he was barely noticeable.
Yeah, technically he's a very good player, and I think when Fulham get the ball down and they start playing, he's the kind of player they want in their side, because he looks at getting those pockets and he get on the half turn and attack defenders. But the first half, I don't think he touched the ball, but this second half, Fulham have been outstanding.
One Chelsea loanee replaces another. Callas will go into the heart of their defence, so it will be a back three now. Well, it's a free kick after the schmozzle on the far side, which will be taken by Tom Kearney with 7.5 minutes to play. Fulham leading Millwall by 2-0. This could prove to be a landmark victory in their season. Target now finding Sessegnon. Sessegnon looks to wriggle away from Romeo, and in the main Romeo's played him quite well, but there's just been the odd moments, and they've been the crucial ones.
Yeah, that crucial moment, it was massive think he was caught sleeping, and Sessegnon wasn't, and he pounced and he took full advantage of that.
Long ball played now from front to back by Williams, looking for Elliott, and it's gathered by Saville. So many attacking players forward now on the far side for Millwall. Saville with a high cross in, but the delivery, which was so good in the first half, has been distinctly average in the second, and it's gone behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, their quality into the boxes has definitely dipped. I think the Millwall players look tired now. This second half, Fulham have had a lot of possession, and the spacing has been big, and they put so much effort into that first half. It's very difficult for the boys out there now.
And Neil Harris will have a big job to lift them before the game next week, which is another huge game at Middlesbrough. They'll see what happens to Middlesbrough tomorrow, but they're going to have to win that game now.
Yeah, they're going to have to go there and win. I think the players know that. It's just nothing's changed. It's a crucial game.
Kearney sliding in Sessegnon down the left-hand side. Sessegnon with a low shot across the face of goal, and it was inches wide.
That's a fantastic effort, that. He's got so much power behind the ball. He's in an acute angle, and it's a real good effort. It's a real good effort from there.
It's the power he gets, isn't it?
I know there was no backlift whatsoever, but he's a clean strike on the ball, and they had Jordan Archer in the goal worried.
He's a slight figure, Ryan Sessegnon, but he really does pack a punch from those areas.
Yeah, he looks powerful. He looks powerful. I mean, he looks like he's already grown into his body at such a young age.
Here is Fredericks. Almost turns into trouble. George Saville wins it back, and now Cahill will find Saville again, but the early ball forward is cut out by McDonald. And we so often see young players given an opportunity, and the managers take them out to the side and they say they need a rest for their own good. But Sessegnon plays every single week, and he's done that for 2 seasons now.
Yeah, I mean, that just full credit to him. He's obviously a very professional young lad, and
Fredericks is down on the far side, but Fulham play on. It's Sessegnon inside the area. McDonald fires another shot in. It's ricocheted into the path of Mitrovic, and Fredericks has gone down and has stayed down until eventually Kearney hoofs it out of play so he can receive some treatment. That's right in front of the Millwall fans on the far side, and Fredericks eventually gets to his feet, and the stewards are just making sure that the Millwall fans don't get any closer than they should do.
Yeah, get on your feet quickly if I was Ryan Fredericks.
Here's another player who has left a big club and really taken the opportunity lower down. And Millwall give the ball back to Fulham, encouraged to do so, but as you can hear, the fans not too happy about the decision, and many Millwall fans are beginning to leave now, and they've seen enough. What has been a bitterly disappointing night for them, and they've just been found wanting when it really matters. Aidan O'Brien will come on now. Marlon Romeo, the player, replaced, so it's another striker replacing a defender with 4 minutes to play. And it could just be a case that they've hit the wall in this one game. Right, they're playing a very good side, but you're 17 matches unbeaten. You've done incredibly well. You've maybe ridden your luck at times, and your luck could have run out tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that first half, Millwall were brilliant.
But if they'd scored, they would have probably won the game.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing with it. These fine margins, goals can change games, and listen, Millwall have given absolutely everything tonight. And that first half, they were brilliant, and very unfortunate not to go in the first half 1-0 up at least.
Cooper now launches it long from the back. Elliott will challenge for it, doesn't win the header, but Fulham don't clear initially. Now Target infield towards McDonald. What a pass from him. Great vision to find Sessegnon again. Infield from the left hand side to find Kearney. He's got support to his right from Johansson, and he's found him, and galloping forward down the right again is Fredericks. No Fulham players inside the penalty area, but Kearney will take it towards the corner flag. His shoulder charged by Cahill, and then he's fouled by Cahill, and that will be a free kick, and Tim Cahill may receive a yellow card here, which he does.
Yeah, I don't think he mind taking that one. He left a bit on him there. It's a bit naughty, to be fair. Kearney was just too strong for him initially, and then he went back and left one on him.
You can take the player out of Millwall, but they'll never forget to be a Millwall player. He's massively popular, Tim Cahill, and I think it's great for him to come back at this stage of his career. Of course, he was a teammate of Neil Harris during his first spell. He was one of a number of fine players who was brought in, as some of the hoardings on the far side have been knocked down by a couple of Millwall players, and the stewards are just having to link arms to form a human chain to stand in front of the Millwall fans. And it's right behind the action out on that Fulham right hand side as Johansson brings it in field back towards Callas, and now Callas with a good ball to pick out target. Sessegnon demanding it again in the midfield area, midway inside the Millwall half. The move breaks down momentarily, but here is Callas. Now McDonald, and Callas again, and Fulham continuing to play their football as we tick towards the final 90 seconds. And Callas charging through here, plays the ball towards Mitrovic! Alexander Mitrovic makes it 3. The Super Serb strikes again for Fulham, and what a comprehensive victory for them on such a big night in the Championship. They have come to the Den and won decisively in the second half, and they are heading back into second place, and Cardiff have to win tomorrow now. Millwall 0, Fulham 3.
Yeah, it's a clinical finish from the striker. The space, it opened up for Callas on the halfway line. He just ran the whole way through the middle of the park, and he slipped it to Mitrovic, who took a touch and he smashed it in the top corner emphatically.
The goals have been absolutely brilliant for Fulham, haven't they? All three of them.
Top draw finishes, every single one of them. Absolutely brilliant finishes.
Well, Alexander Mitrovic has now scored 11 goals this season. What a signing he has been. He has been the missing link, as Ryan said earlier on. And Fulham's 17-match, or rather Millwall's 17-match unbeaten run has come to a shuddering halt. But it's 22 games and counting for Fulham. They have Sunderland at home and Birmingham away to come in the regular season. And they will be hoping that's as far as it goes, because now Cardiff have to get a result tomorrow. There'll be 3 minutes of added time as O'Brien catches Bettinelli inside the penalty area as he gathers a long ball forward, and it's a yellow card for O'Brien, and it's a free kick for Fulham. And the new Den is now emptying at an increasingly rapid rate here. The home fans have seen enough. It'll be only their 4th home defeat of the season, their first since November the 4th when Burton won here. Burton could be relegated tomorrow along with Sunderland, and Sunderland were the last side to beat Fulham in mid-December. Ryan Fredericks is now being brought off on the far side, and Cyrus Christie, signed from Middlesbrough, will come on to replace him. Fredericks is another player who would not look out of place in the Premier League. Got to say that, Ryan?
No, I think he's turned himself into a Premier League player. I really do. He's a physical specimen. He can get up and down the line, and like we say, fullbacks nowadays they need to get up and down the line, and he can do that all day.
Of course, he was behind the likes of Kyle Walker and Kyle Norton at Tottenham. But speaking to people at White Hart Lane, they said they maybe thought he was just lacking something, and maybe he needed to get away to find it.
Yeah, I think he's the kind of player that needs to be playing games every week to be on top of his game, and he's gone to Fulham and he's done that, and he's a top class right back now, and hopefully he'll get his opportunity in the Premier League.
Well, the Fulham fans really enjoying themselves. Behind the goal away to our left-hand side, there was a Serbian national flag out unfurled in the aftermath of that third goal to celebrate the shot from Mitrovic. But what a response for them after the disappointment of conceding in injury time against Brentford last week in another London derby. They have come to the Den where nobody has found life easy this season, and they're going to win comprehensively. Williams for Millwall, wide to this near side, and Wallace. Wallace is challenged, and he has to play it square towards Saville. Saville now may think of a shot from long range, and really it sums up Millwall's second half performance. He got right underneath it, and an airy-fairy sort of shot goes some way over the crossbar. Abubakar Kamara will be coming on shortly for Fulham, their final change, just to waste a few seconds. And at the moment, you couldn't really pick between Cardiff and Fulham. I know Cardiff have got the games in hand, but they've got to win them.
It's a difficult league. There's no easy games in this league, and Cardiff fixtures are very tough, so it's not over yet.
Andre Mariner blows the full-time whistle, and what a huge victory for Fulham, and what a massive disappointment for Millwall. Their 17-match unbeaten run comes to an end, but Fulham march on back into second place, and the pressure is now back on Cardiff City tomorrow. Sessegnon, McDonald and Mitrovic with the goals. Millwall 0, Fulham 3.